Now, since you've done away with the reading of the articles and you've gone through the three steps, that is skimming and then rereading and rereading, now you have enough information on the topic at hand कि अब आप उसका analysis कर सकते हो. Not only have you gone through the articles multiple times, बल्कि you have your own critique ready on that article as well. तो अब let's have a look कि in literature review analysis कैसे करना है. So it's important to make this point again to all of you, is that कि analysis and synthesis जो कि अभी हम लोग बात करने जा रहे हैं, that actually makes the backbone of the literature review. Anybody can come and they can summarize the literature, लेकिन वो literature review नहीं बनता. It's just a bit as I already told you, it's a annotated bibliography. A literature review should constitute in its analysis and synthesis a major portion of the research. So let's have a look at what we can expect in the analysis phase. So analyzing actually means कि आपने different जो studies पढ़ी हैं at a bigger level, at a you take an overall या holistic perspective on the topic at hand, आपका develop हो या आप उसके ऊपर analysis दे सकें. So overall जो picture जो emerge होगी, you should be representing in the analysis कि overall ये जो studies जिनको आपने study किया है, आपने उनको पढ़ा है, वो क्या किसी एक phenomena के बारे में क्या बताती हैं at a higher level, at an abstract level, at a bigger picture level. और it will also tell you कि जो review आप करने जा रहे हो, जो आपने review किया है, what are the gaps available in that. See this, when you read multiple articles on it, तो एक article किसी और aspect के बारे में बात कर रहा होगा, दूसरा article maybe उसको negate कर रहा होगा, accept कर रहा होगा, और totally a different perspective present कर रहा होगा. So overall वो सारी themes and और वो सारे issues and the gaps that you identify will help you in understanding the overall bigger picture of the phenomena that you're reviewing. And of course it also entails कि different studies अगर different aspect के ऊपर हुई हैं, तो overall to that particular aspect, what conclusions can you draw as a researcher from all of those studies. See this, हर एक study की एक अलग conclusion होगी जो कि एक particular context में मौजूद होगी, but there might be other studies जो कि similar context में हुई हों. So analysis involves या entails कि आप उन किसी एक context में हुई सारी studies को सामने रखें और उनके findings and conclusion को पढ़ें, and then at a meta level you actually by analysis you actually you give your own conclusion जो कि at a bigger level आप draw कर सकते हैं. I give you an example, again a very simplistic example of cyberbullying phenomena. There are many studies that are being carried out just for measuring the prevalence, or let's say for the argument हम कह लेते हैं कि we're only interested in survey based research, या जो percentage या prevalence बताती हैं कितना percent cyberbully हुआ है. So see this, I might come across 30 different studies, right? And some studies जो एक तरह का उसमें perspective है. Some studies might have been done in the European continent, and some studies might have been done in the Asian continent, and some study might have been done in the North American continent. So what this means कि cyberbullying का एक aspect ये है कि geographical distribution of the studies मैं देखूं, and geographically मैं analyze करूं what is the prevalence when it comes to the studies that are done in European context, in the Asian context, and the American context. Another aspect, or another way of looking at, or another way of analyzing those studies, is that which perspective were they, or on what population they were done on. Maybe some of the studies in the American context वो स्कूलों के students के बारे में, or some were on the staff in school, some were on the university student, and some were on the staff in the university. So another analysis जो कि किया जा सकता है, that is analyze the prevalence or prevalence of cyberbullying phenomena in schools at a bigger level. सारी स्टडीज उठाई जाएं और एनालाइज किया जाए कि इन स्कूलों में उनका प्रेवलेंस रेट क्या है, और सारी स्टडीज उठाई जाएं और देखा जाए कि in university level prevalence क्या है. So see that this is how when you actually read multiple papers, so you kind of find those perspective, and you can analyze them by contrasting and differentiating those different studies among themselves. So this brings us कि we also have to see in our analysis part कि जो एक तरह की studies हैं, are there any major disagreements between those? Because see this, whenever there are disagreements, then that means that area, that aspect of your topic needs further research. क्योंकि अगर agreement है, that means pretty much in most of the cases, pretty much the phenomena has been understood, right? So not always, but in most of the cases, when you have ample evidence, काफी ज़्यादा studies हुई हैं और उनके अंदर disagreement मौजूद नहीं है, that means कि that area you shouldn't be pursuing that aspect of your research topic. But on the contrary, when there are a lot of disagreements available, यहाँ पे contrary findings आ रही हो, conflicting findings आ रही हो, this is where a researcher can go and jot down that this is something I've found out. There are conflicts, and maybe by relating it to other aspects जो कि उसने analysis में identify किए हैं, he can come across a problem or a gap while he's doing literature review. So after assessing your the literature, you should be able to answer कि why should we study this research problem. Like I told you, यहीं पर ही when you actually ask and find out the answer to these questions, you'll be able to find out कि is there a problem or not. Pretty much अगर आपको कोई उनके दरमियान कोई disagreements नजर नहीं आ रहे, या you don't find anything that कोई gaps रह गए हैं where the study have alluded towards कि this is an area that needs further exploration, so over there you'll be finding out कि वाकई में further research की ज़रूरत है या नहीं है. And of course, it also will be able to allow you to understand कि if there are contributions जो कि अगर आप ये वाली research करें तो वो कितना contribute करेगी towards the overall phenomena जो कि लोगों ने research किया. Okay, so in analysis, now comes the summary and the synthesis part. So synthesis, analyze तो कर लिया कि there are different aspects. So synthesis is like कि आपने वो जो छोटे different आपने perspective understand किए हैं, you have to put them as a whole in order to understand the complete picture of the phenomena that you're researching. So one of the ways you can do synthesis is कि आपने उसके अंदर से different perspectives निकाले, या key arguments निकाले, या key concepts निकाले, या sub topics निकाले, या sub themes निकाली, and then you focus on those themes, right? First of all, theme banana in itself is synthesis. You read multiple articles and you come across कि एक theme ये है और दूसरी theme ये है. So you focus on those themes, you find out what people are doing, and if there are any differences, उसके अंदर सब themes क्या emerge करती हैं और उनका आपस में connection क्या है. And then you can also do synthesis on existing debate and theories. For instance, अगर आप one of the ways you can synthesize literature on, again the same example, cyberbullying, so you can synthesize that literature on the theories that are prevalent in the cyberbullying domain. आप वही जो 30 studies हैं, you try to synthesize them theory wise कि वो आइडेंटिफाई ऑल द थ्योरीज जो इस्तेमाल हुई हैं, या फिर आपको मालूम है कि वो कौन सी थ्योरीज हैं जो कि साइबर बुलिंग फिनोमेना को एक्सप्लेन करती हैं, एंड देन having that lens you synthesize your literature. कि maybe you'll find out कि theory of planned behavior, just an example, theory of planned behavior से relevant इतने % लोगों ने स्टडी किया है, उस थ्योरी के थ्रू साइबर बुलिंग का जो फिनोमेना इतना % एक्सप्लेन होता है इन सम स्टडीज, इतना % एक्सप्लेन होता है इन अदर स्टडी, एंड सो ऑन एंड सो फोर्थ. Or you can do your synthesis based on methodologies. कि कुछ जो बुलिंग विक्टिमाइजेशन से रेलेवेंट जो स्टडीज़ हुई हैं वो सर्वे बेस्ड स्टडीज़ हुई हैं. Others are qualitative in nature, having interviews as a major research method in them. या फिर some are experimental in nature. कुछ का intervention से ताल्लुक है कि people have devised interventions that can actually make people aware and change their behaviors when it comes to doing victimization of their peers in the cyberspace. So this is how you can synthesize or summarize your literature while you do your thesis write-up, literature review write-up. And while you're writing, you have to understand you have to write in the language in which researchers write their literature review, which is a simple language, like it follows in such a way you always start with the study name. Not always, but in most of the cases you start with the study name, and then you write the narrative कि उस study ने क्या किया, या फिर something like that कि early work by certain authors were concerned about this, or something like that कि these authors they compare this algorithm for its accuracy for something and something, whatever that study was. Or you can start by additional work by these authors deal with the phenomena at hand that you're researching. So when you're synthesizing and you're writing your literature review, तो always remember that कि आपके पास multiple papers होंगे और उनमें से कुछ paper will be directing towards a particular aspect or particular subtopic जो आपने पीछे synthesis में जो है ना identify किया. So here I have given you an example कि literature review लिखने का तरीका क्या है. उसमें just the narrative, not the whole literature review, the narrative of it. So you have these papers 1, 2, 3, 4 जो कि annotated bibliography में लिखा हुआ है. Source A, इसमें या brief summary about whatever the summary was. Source B, source C, source C. So how your literature review you should be writing is maybe the source A and source C, ये paper A or paper C, they talked about a specific perspective या topic. तो आपने क्या किया? While you're writing about that perspective, you always start with the sentence explaining the information being presented कि अब आप किस aspect की बात करने जा रहे हो या ये क्यों important है. And then you summarize that evidence कि source A ने ये कहा है इसके बारे में और source C ने ये कहा है. But this alone, these two things alone are not sufficient. After writing these two things, you should be discussing and synthesizing the sources and elaborating on their work by giving your insights, by giving your critique. Similar goes for the second topic, second theme, or the second perspective that is emerging. That is कि आपका source B and source D talk about another aspect of your research जो कि आपके literature review में identify हुआ है. So you start off with the information about that perspective, and then you put the summary जो कि evidence है उसका कि source B ने ये कहा, source D ने ये कहा, and then again you discuss the synthesizing source by critiquing on it. And always remember, a very, very, very good literature review entails that these two perspectives जो कि अलग-अलग से आपने लिटरेचर रिव्यू से इमर्ज हुए हैं, you always try to connect both of these. I've seen lots of literature review and जो कि बहुत अच्छे synthesize किए हुए होते हैं, but the only thing that is missing in them is that कि जो different perspective हैं उनके दरमियान जो narration होती है कि how they are connected, the author fails to connect those two different parts. So to make your literature review really flowy and for the readers to really enjoy reading that, or to enjoy reading it in a sense that there are no disconnects, it's important कि आप ना सिर्फ ये काम करें बल्कि if there are different aspect तो आप सिर्फ ठक 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 करके उनको aspects को ना बताते जाएं, rather you need to have connection sentences that explain कि ये वाला जो आपने थीम आइडेंटिफाई किया या पर्सपेक्टिव है उसका अगले पर्सपेक्टिव से क्या रिलेशनशिप है. Okay, now I'll give you one of the example where I'll show you this thing actually happening, where there's a perspective and there's an evidence of it, and then the researcher is critiquing in his or her own words. Have a look at this. This is one of the article study that was done on cybersecurity behaviors. So overall, I'll just give you a quick review. They were trying to understand information governance ka role in explaining the information security policy compliance in the higher education institute. यानी कि वो देखना चाह रहे थे कितना इंफॉर्मेशन गवर्नेंस का अगर सेटअप किया जाए तो वो कितना इफेक्टिव है कि जो एम्प्लॉयज़ हैं जो इंफॉर्मेशन सिक्योरिटी पॉलिसीज़ हैं उनको कितना वो फुलफिल करते हैं, और डज इट हैज़ एनी इन्फ्लुएंस ऑन दैट और नॉट. सो हैव अ लुक एट दिस. दिस इज वन स्निपेट. थोड़ा सा मैंने उसका स्निपेट यहाँ पे काट के लगाया so that you understand. So it started off, the literature review started off, the authors write कि recent studies have shown that employees who are motivated to protect assets show a strong influence on intention to comply with the ISPs. तो ये उनका पूरा लुबे लुबाब है, उनकी at a higher meta level उन्होंने ये find out किया कि one of the aspects जो कि motivate वो that was responsible for the employees to comply with the information security policies वो ये था कि जो कि अपने motivated थे to protect their assets something like जो इनका data मौजूद है या maybe some information that they have on their devices. Then they started off with the empirical evidence of the sources. So researchers have empirically tested and highlighted distinctive factors supporting compliance with the information security policies. और यहाँ पे उन्होंने इकट्ठा ही उनको कर दिया in a one go. और फिर जो second aspect उन्होंने फौरन ही शुरू कर दिया, perspective जो उन्होंने find out किया, and that is कि multiple theories and hybrid models have predicted employee security behaviors in for-profit organizations, and some of these are highly complex. Here they started off कि yes, intention to comply से relevant factors मौजूद हैं, लेकिन there are other theories as well जिन्होंने predict किया है secure employees के security behavior को in organizations जो कि for-profit organizations हैं. और फिर then they highlighted this fact, but कि literature में ये भी evidence आया है कि जो ये theories या models इस्तेमाल हुए हैं they are very complex. और example उन्होंने दी कि one of the integrating model जो कि बहुत complex है, या theoretical model बहुत complex था, that was the PMT and the theory of reasoned action और cognitive. तीन theories को मिला के उन्होंने ये वाला model बनाया, and they gave the empirical evidence of that. And here is their critique. Okay, having these three, this aspect, what is the problem over here is it is not realistic to assume that such models should generalize well to HEIs in the developing world. तो फिर देखें here उन्होंने पूरा एक about this aspect उन्होंने इसको critique किया कि yes model exist करते हैं, they might be complex, या फिर फैक्टर्स भी रिसर्चर्स ने हाईलाइट किए हैं. बट द प्रॉब्लम इज वो वाले मॉडल्स may or may not work in higher education institute. They might work for the profit organization, but higher education institutes में शायद generalize ना हो सके. In specifically those higher education institutes जो कि developing world में. So this is their critique, and we agree with the or then they again give this argument. Okay, we agree with the recent research in information security that argues for the importance of both ecological validity and contextualization of research. फिर उन्होंने again evidence दिया. There is evidence that says that whenever you do research in information security, तो उसके अंदर context बहुत matter करता है, which is what they are making the case for. Okay, the context in profit organizations is different than the context which is in the developing world and in the higher education institutes. And here they critique why. We argue that a key difference between for-profit institutions and higher education institutes in the developing world is in the form of information governance employed. And information governance in higher education institutes is a complex and is often driven by a different set of international standards and laws. So here, they're critiquing again. So this is how a write-up of your literature review looks like. कि आप same aspect को इकट्ठा करें. You in the beginning you you actually explain what that aspect is, अगर वो explain नहीं हुआ, and then you present your evidence followed by your own critique.